On the eve of the 1982 NCS Division A championship football game for the Menlo Knights, a group of the varsity players have gathered here today at the home of Bob Fitzpatrick in order to express their thanks and sincere gratitude to Ron Bryant for his leadership and friendship in the season of 1982. So, Coach, sit back, relax, and ease up, Ron.
I was always in the doghouse with Mr. Bryant. When I went down to USC and missed that game last year, I thought he was going to kick me off the team. But seriously, I've been working all year. Pride, something I've had a lot of all year. But could I have done it alone? No, not without Mr. Bryant. I'd also like to give my Congratulations to Mr. Bryant for his great ideas on our sweats this year. Thank you.
I remember all the days before the games. Mr. Bryant would be really uptight, and he'd have a way of talking, which was, if you could follow it, it was pretty funny. Well, here's how it went. Hey, Bill, I got this great play, Bill. All right, Bill. Hey, hey, run that back, Jack. There ain't a team that can stop. Oh, no one can stop this play. Oh, if I were that other team, I'd just put 8 men in the backfield, 7 men on the line. Oh, whoops, I can't do that. Oh, well, I don't know what we'd do. Hey, next Saturday, next Saturday. Got this great game. Oh, man. And he was a sight to see before a game. He'd get so nervous. That's what I remember about Ron Bryant.
Yeah, like Andy said, the one thing about Ron is the day before the game and the day of the game. I remember the best thing is Ron's ability to psych us up before the game. His way on words is just unbelievable. His vocabulary, as everybody's seen through his interviews, is just outstanding. It's just no word can describe Ron Bryant. His ability, like Bill always says, is just unbelievable. And my first encounter with Ron was when I was in 8th grade, and he was telling us what a great program he had when I was in 8th grade, and I believe that was ability when they didn't have a varsity football team. But like Ron said, he's always a talker, and I appreciate that. And his ability to psych us up before a football game is the best thing that I remember about Ron Bryant.
Ron Bryant. Best football coach I ever had. The only football coach I ever had. My most memorable part of Ron Bryant is him telling the team one day that the team had rushed for 1,100, passed for 1,200 the next day, thinking that wasn't good enough, that we had to get more psyched up for the game. Telling us that the passer was 6'5", could threw for 3,000 yards that season, and the team rushed for about 2,500. Thanks.
I think it was a Saturday afternoon at Valley Christian. It was halftime. One of the plays we just run was a B-screen middle, and I forgot to tell the lineman to go, so it was kind of slow. Well, at halftime talk, Ron announced that I looked so slow, it was almost like a New York Life commercial. Well, that's how I got my name, New York Life. Thanks, Ron.
I'm standing here with junior tackle Herb Ludwig, academic All-American. Herb, let me just ask you, what's your greatest memory of Ron Bryant?
Who's Ron Bryant? See, I've seen him on the news. Who's Ron Bryant?
The thing I remember most about Mr. Bryant was the time when Tech stole some sweats out of his office, and then he caught us at practice wearing them. And being such a nice guy that he is, he did make us run extra for stealing them.
Well, one day it was a really, really cold day, and I had to find some sweats for practice. And Drew comes to me and he says, "Hey, I got these sweats out of Ron's office." Forces me to wear the sweats. So I wore the sweats out to practice. And as we were running sprints, Ron caught us, and he just kind of laughed it off. And I thought that was really cool of him. And me and Drew still have the sweats today. And seriously, Ron has always given me a chance, and that's something I really respect him for.
The thing I like about Ron Bryant is that he knows where to put people so that they can get the full potential out of them for the team. Last year on the JVs, I played fullback and linebacker, and was a pretty bad failure at fullback. And I found that this year put me where I belonged, at guard and nose guard. And I appreciate that he knows where to put people to get full use out of them.
One of the most interesting things about playing for Mr. Bryant was seeing how he went about winning football games. As you know, we've had many lopsided scores in the past 4 years, and the big question was when he was going to pull out the starters and stop throwing the football. Now, in previous years, Mr. Bryant has had games where he was on the losing side, up 50-0, or teams would score 60 points. And his first objective, I guess, when he finally had the good team, was to see how many points he could score. And my first year, when I was a freshman, we had one game in particular where the other team was not too strong. And he said, "Hey, this is a chance for us to score 80 points." And this is, a great chance for us to, not for me, but he wanted to score a lot of points. That was very important to him. And, and now as a senior, it isn't that big of a deal to him, but it was important for him to score those points. Another thing I'd like to say is that if Mr. Bryant was not a football coach, I think he should have been a publicity director or something like that, because he could make anybody famous. He could make anybody a celebrity. He could have you on Channel 11, on 11 o'clock news, or on Channel 4 on Evening Magazine. And my recommendation is, if you wanted to be president or anything like that, is that you should have him on your campaign staff, because he could make you famous. That's it.
Hi, this is Harold Buddy Buddy BB.
And this is Sloan Buddy Buddy Rouser, and we're here to talk about Ron Bryant.
Yeah, we love Ron. We'd like to talk about, first of all, we'd like to first talk about Ron Bryant, how he used to psych us up. As I remember Ron when he used to talk about how Harold reminded him of Matt Millen of the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, and he used to make Sloan feel like a good linebacker by telling him that he reminded him of Bill Berge of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And Ron had, when we both, Harold and I, both thought about leaving Menlo, or not leaving Menlo, but just quitting
leaving
football.
The football team.
And this upset him very much, of us splitting up. And as I recall, he told me when I first thought about leaving Menlo and going to Berkeley for one semester, he said, after I first told him, he comes in and after he thought for a few minutes, as it usually takes him to think before he says, he goes, he said, "Sloan, well, what's her name?" And I was lost for words.
And when I wanted to leave football my junior year, because I thought I was going to be the next Shep Messing of soccer, and so I came up to Ron and I told him I was going to quit, and he said, "Well, Harold, what's this pansy sports soccer?" So
we think Ron has helped us prepare for life mentally
and physically and spiritually.
Thank you.
Thanks.
One of the many things I remember and appreciate about Ron Bryant is his willingness to help us out over summer. He involved us in summer leagues and opened the weight room for us all the time. And we all benefited greatly from it, and I just really, thanks a lot, Ron.
Yeah, now I remember Ron Bryant. He's the guy who wouldn't let me play quarterback freshman year. Ron came up to me freshman year. I was like second day out for quarterback, and he said, "Well, Herb, I don't know if we need another quarterback, because John was playing sophomore quarterback." And he decided to send me right over the line. I was thinking about a back position. My dad wanted me to get my hands on the ball, but went the line into the trenches. And well, I'm glad Ron made me do that, because I don't know how successful I would have been being a back. I do make touchdowns and stuff, but I think it would have helped the team the best. For me to be on the line, I would have never been as good a football player if I wasn't an lineman.
Having not played football before, I think playing for my senior year did me a lot of good, and Ron coached 5 provos, and I think he did a really good job, and I want to thank him a lot.
Channel 7 reporter Joe Montana went back to the field today, not playing, but taking a look at one of the top-notch high school quarterbacks in the Bay Area.
In my opinion, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen in high school. And I, of course, haven't seen every quarterback that ever played, but he's certainly the best in this area, and I think his potential is unlimited.
17-year-old John Pay has college coaches waiting in line, and why not? He's a can't-miss college prospect. Through 7 games this season, Pay has averaged well over 300 yards a game passing, and he's already thrown 29 TD passes. In Menlo's opening game against crosstown rival Menlo Atherton, Pay's team was trailing 27-7 with 8 minutes left in the game. John brought his club back by leading them to 4 touchdowns, the final one on the last play of the game.
Well, I understand you have an excellent grade point average, so I'm sure you have just about every choice in the country, so that means there's only really one place for you to go, and that's Notre Dame.
That's right. Well, I am looking at Notre Dame really seriously. I went back there for their football camp, and I was really impressed with everything there, the coaching staff, the facilities they had, and even the school and the environment that it was around.
Notre Dame isn't the only major college looking at John. Teams like Michigan, UCLA, USC, and Stanford. My bet, he'll end up down on the farm. From Menlo Park, Joe Montana, Channel 7 News.
He looks like a good one. Looks like John Elway, as a matter of fact, so Stanford just might end up with John Pay, the Menlo quarterback.
We'll also have some football highlights, including a special one as we look at a possible successor to John Elway. We'll have that in all the sports, but first, this time out. Yesterday at Stanford, and this is an interesting story, Menlo School advanced to the finals of their, well, it's a Division 1A, it's a North Coast section contest, a 20-15 semifinal win over Clear Lake, and they did it in come-from-behind fashion, starting at the 6-yard line, 1:24 left, and 1 timeout. And we're going to pick up the action at the 6-yard line. Menlo School will have the ball. Watch their quarterback. John Pay connects 11 yards to Drew Fernando to the 17-yard line. Pay is 6'3", 195 pounds, a senior, 14 yards to Dave Dove to the 28-yard line. Pay to Fernando again, 10 yards to the 41-yard line. Pay again to Dove, 17 yards to the Clear Lake 42. Now, after an incomplete and a Clear Lake timeout, Pay again on the attack to Fernando, 10 yards to the 32. Now, Pay to Ferrando again, 7 yards to the 25-yard line. Now, Menlo is a private school. Last week they won the conference championship. It was 8 touchdown passes by this young man, Pay. Pay to Dove again, 14 yards to the 11-yard line. Remember, there was just 1:24 to go in the game. Pay to Andy Thurston, 11 yards for the touchdown, the win, 20-15. Pay was 8 for 9, 94 yards in 60 seconds. He did not use a timeout. Now, Menlo will play for the Division 1A North Coast Section Championship title game in Ukiah. It will be this coming Saturday night. In 3 years, Pay has tossed 76 touchdown passes. He's a #3 ranked passer in California state history, and his completion percentage 64.2 yards, 64.2% completions. Right now, they're saying he's another John Elway, and it's tough to make comparisons on young people, but he is 6'3", he's 195, he's blonde-headed, he's articulate, they say, and he's intelligent. He's a senior, he's intelligent. So, where's he going to go?
Yeah, right.
Well, Notre Dame's looking at him, UCLA and Stanford, of course, and his parents, both of them, went to Stanford. And we're going to talk to John later this week, and we'll have a report on it.
I'd like to hear what he says.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, nothing to conjecture about this Saturday's big game at Cal, except who will win, of course. Stanford probably with the most at stake besides just the normal rivalry. A win would give them not only a winning season, but a bowl bid as well. But even with that on their minds, the folks at Stanford have the future to think about after John Elway. Can there be another like him? Maybe. Pete Liebengood has the story.
He's probably done everything a young man can do to be a great quarterback. Without question, it's not just me. I'm sure every college in the country that's looking for a quarterback has John Pay right at the very top of their list.
For 4 years now, Stanford fans have been saying, well, we've seen the last of the likes of John Elway. Well, have you seen John Pay yet? He's not far away. Pay is a senior at tiny Menlo School. His 1982 numbers are awesome. Over 3,000 yards passing, 37 TDs, and a 3.8 grade point average. Throw in tall, blonde, and handsome, and you're talking Jack Armstrong, not John Elway.
Well, it goes a lot further than his physical ability, which is unlimited. I think the biggest factor is John's emotional makeup, his stability, and his leadership ability. He does not lose his composure. He does not lose his poise. He does not get frustrated with other people or himself.
Pay has narrowed his choices to Stanford, UCLA, and Notre Dame. The fact his parents both went to Stanford would seem to give Paul Wiggin the recruiting edge, but there is that tough act to follow factor.
When people compare me to Elway, I feel that that's very flattering, but I don't think I'm in the class of a John Elway. And I know that if I do go to Stanford and I'm and I'm asked to fill his shoes, that it would be, you know, a very big job to fill. And I think, you know, that might be a disadvantage of going to Stanford.
The only thing that might get in the way of Pay's football future is a baseball career. Now, does that sound familiar, Stanford fans? In Menlo Park, I'm Pete Lieben, Good News Center for Sports.
Ing has trouble with the snap, and he pitches it out, and the ball's loose. And Ludwig catches it out of the air at the 40-yard line. He's going to go all the way for the touchdown. Herbie Ludwig is going to get a touchdown. Pay rolls out right. He's looking to the end zone. He's got Thurstone. Thurstone's got it. Thurstone's got the touchdown. Pay to Thurstone, 11 yards for the Menlo touchdown with 30 seconds remaining in the game. Menlo goes on top 20-15.
This is my classroom. I share it with 4 outstanding teachers, Bill August, Steve Ballinger, Jack Snyder, and Chuck Billings, and 45 or so outstanding young men and hundreds of loyal supporters. Each day, we study and work together for 2 hours or more. And on the weekend, we take a test in front of 500 to 2,500 people. On Thursday, the newspaper predicts how we're going to do. On Monday, they report the degree of our success or failure for everybody to read. Last night, we took our final examination in Ukiah, and we were very fortunate under very adverse conditions to beat Upper Lake 28-0 to win our 2nd consecutive North Coast Section Championship. This tape you'll see are the highlights of the tests we took each week. I hope you'll get the same feeling from it that we have. What makes these young guys come out and do this every afternoon? I think it's a love for each other, it's a love for competition, and we feel it's very, very educational. Possibly as educational as anything they'll ever do in any school. I hope you'll enjoy it. We enjoyed putting it together for you.
John Pay, senior tackle and quarterback.
Andy Thurstone, senior wide receiver.
Brian Rativa, senior split end cornerback. Special teams.
Cowboy Dove, senior tight end.
Scott Watchhorst, sophomore split end cornerback. Brian the Bullet Watchhorst. On the kickoff team,
Drew Ferrando, junior flanker rover.
Mike Liddell, junior wide receiver.
John Kang, sophomore, JV recruit, DB, and running back.
Brian Hall, sophomore, fullback.
Bob Fitzpatrick, junior halfback and defensive back.
Mike Supple, senior fullback and defensive back.
Mark Gusson, sophomore, JV recruited defensive lineman and defensive end.
Brady Enright, sophomore halfback and defensive end.
Matt Halpern, senior center, third string quarterback.
This is Sloan Buddy Rouser.
This is Harold Buddy Rouser.
No, BB. And we both play the same position. We
both ways, linebacker and guard.
John Whelan, guard linebacker. I'm a sophomore.
Mike Eisenstadt, injured reserve, after game drinking team.
Mike Tuxedo, junior, strong tackle, defensive tackle.
Peter Meyer, nose guard, sophomore, and strong guard.
I'm Herb Ludwig. I'm a junior.
Weak side tackle, defensive tackle, and I'm getting a sunburn.
Chris Prova, senior defensive tackle, the line.
John Randall, junior, and defensive end.
Brett Challenger, junior defensive end.
Vince Lazankowski, I'm a senior, I'm a tight end, I'm Polish.
This will be our opening game with Menlo Atherton, and we pick up the game in the second quarter. And here you'll see an X stunt. We call an X stunt by Harold Beebe for a loss, number 55. Harold is an extremely good linebacker. On this particular play, you'll see an excellent tackle for a loss by Brian Protiva, first-year cornerback, number 20. At this time, we're trailing 12-0. Just before the halftime, John will throw a pass to Brian Protiva. We call it 29 pass for a touchdown. Halftime, the score 12-6, Menlo Atherton. 4 minutes to go, Menlo Atherton. Following a behold MA, we come back. You see John scramble again on fourth down. It's 4th and 10 at this point. John scrambles again, runs for a first down. (27-20), 2 minutes and 47 seconds to go. You'll see John throw an out pass to Drew Ferrando down to the 2-yard line. Drew makes an excellent effort, gets out of bounds. One of our 4 call running plays, another dive to Bob Fitzpatrick. Look at the line drive. Looks like MA's on roller skates. At this point, we go for 2 points and we miss it. And with 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go, we trail. We hold MA, force a punt. Inadvertently, the punter puts his knee on the ground, and we get the ball on the 38-yard line with 13 seconds to go in the game. This particular play is called the play. That's called Z corner for the touchdown with 5 seconds remaining for a 32, come from behind, 32-27 win over Menlo Atherton. At this point, one of the highlights of our season. I believe later on you'll see that we actually topped this drive. Following our win over Menlo Atherton, we entertained Steveston from British Columbia, our 7th meeting with them. Here you see Steveston punting to Brian Protiva. This has been quite a relationship, Menlo and Steveston, over the years. This will be a bootleg pass from John Pay to Andy Thurstone for a touchdown. Andy had quite a game on this particular day. Following this TD, will come right back, and you'll see John drop back and hit Andy again for 71 yards, our longest touchdown pass of the season. This is a double screen, a pass that we probably run better than any team on the peninsula. To Mike Supple. You see several excellent blocks downfield by Rouser. Following the screen pass, you'll see a delay pass to David Dove for a touchdown. John and David make it look very, very simple. Number 22. This will be a pass to Drew Ferrando, who is one of the best receivers in high school football. Uncanny ability to catch the ball and stay in bounds. This will be a pass to Brian Protiva. Look at the velocity on the ball. TD. Just before halftime, David Dove will make an interception and run it in for a TD. We had an exceptionally good defensive team this season, as you'll see later on. This play will be a sprint draw to Bobby Fitzpatrick. Bobby is probably the most underrated running back on the peninsula. He's only a junior. Following this play, you'll see John scramble, throw a pass to Drew, and Drew will really make some great moves for a touchdown. Following the win over Stevenson, we took our annual trip to Kezar Stadium to play Sacred Heart. I believe this is probably our poorest coaching job of the season. We just did not prepare the kids right. Even though we lost 41-18, we played an exceptionally fine offensive game. Here we'll see John throw a pass to David Dove over the middle. A play that we'll use later on in the season to perfection. This will be a pass to Drew Ferrando for good yardage. Again, we played very, very well on offense. We just had a couple of breakdowns and just could not defense Sacred Heart. This will be a pass to Vince Sozankowski, one of his 12 catches for the year. Here you'll see John sacked. John was only sacked 12 times the entire season in 306 pass attempts at this point. Immediately following the sack, John shows his poise in class, comes back on a fourth down play, completes it over the middle to David Dove, who makes an excellent catch for the touchdown. Not only did Sacred Heart keep the ball away from us, they had a little bit of help, I believe, this day from the referee. Here you'll see a very, very bad call, and perhaps my only emotional outburst the entire season. A very, very bad call by the ref. He'll come back and help us a little later. Here you see a draw play to Mike Supple. Mike, again, is an exceptionally good running back and had to fill some big shoes, J.B. Barnett's. Here you'll see a screen pass to Mike Supple. Actually, it's a lateral. Mike makes an excellent run. Here you'll see the same referee. He helps us a little bit here. He makes an exceptionally good block for Drew. One of our best blocks of the season, actually. Here you'll see a pass to David Dove over the middle. David just took a lot of hits this season and just keeps popping up. A pass to Drew Ferrando. Downfield. Great pass. Almost broke it. Following this, we'll come right back with a arrowing up to Mike Supple for the TD. And unlike other games, you'll see the enthusiasm just isn't there. Our kids are very dejected. Following this, we play SLV, and you see Herb Ludwig and Bill Tuxedo and Margie Ludwig bringing in the adult Gatorade. In this particular kickoff, you'll see some real hits by Menlo. Swarming even on a kickoff. Here you'll see an excellent play. We really had SLV defensed well. Their offense is very, very predictable. Following a punt return by Brian Protiva. Slipped. On our first play from scrimmage, John will make a double fake. It's what we call a cross pass. 228 cross pass, and you'll see a long bomb. The ball went about 55, 60 yards in the air and deflected into Drew's hands for a touchdown. 7-0. Perhaps our biggest booster, Fred Halverson. Here you see some of the quickness in John. People think he's just a passer. Watch this run. John would be one of the better running quarterbacks in the Bay Area if we were to let him run. This will be a pass we call 265, a sprint out to the left to Brian Protiva. Again, look at the velocity on the ball. Pass over the middle to Mike Supple, who makes an excellent run. Again, Michael is a very, very fine running back. Pass to Drew Ferrando, who also makes a great run after his catch. Here you'll see a great play by John. He sneaks it and tries to put the ball in the end zone. Watch him pull it back. Oop. Here's Paul Wiggin talking to Susan Dove. Perhaps he was trying to get some offensive tips. On this particular kickoff, you'll see that the hit put on the kid results in a fumble. We recover. Immediately come back, and John hits Bobby Fitzpatrick. Bobby's the 5th receiver in this pattern. Very soft touch. A lot of quarterbacks would have rifled the ball. It would have been incomplete. This game was the first appearance of the Menlo Chickens, or the San Diego Chickens, I guess. Still don't know who's wearing those costumes. Following our SLV win, we opened our league play with a game at Emeryville, a game that the parents, some of the coaches, and a few of the players were very tense about. We opened the game with a pass to David Dove. Actually injured on this play, second time in the game. David actually ends up missing 2 games with a knee injury. Here you see the concern on the sideline from the parents. Fortunately, it was not a serious injury. David was able to come back later in the season. This will be a pass to Vince Sozankowski, our other tight end, for a touchdown. Vince is an excellent football player also. Here you see a trick play attempt by Emery and a great hit by Bob Fitzpatrick in one of his few defensive games of the year. Bobby ended up not having to play much defense. A pass to Drew Ferrando, who makes an excellent run after the catch. This will be a pass to Drew Ferrando. If he has any envisions of going to Arizona State, at least he gets a chance to play in the dust here. Here you see a pass to Brian Hall, a sophomore running back who makes an excellent run. Brian didn't get to play much this year, but he's going to be very, very good next year. Big, strong young man. Here you'll see John scramble for quite a few seconds. Never loses track of his receivers. He'll throw downfield to Brian Protiva, who came all the way across the field. A pass to Mike Supple, who runs an arrow and up, totally uncovered for a touchdown. Missed tackle. Long pass to Drew Ferrando, who makes an excellent move. It's kind of Z corner. Same play we ran at MA. Cuts back, runs it in for the touchdown. Final score in this game was 50-8. Following our win over Emory, we traveled to CSD. The team was always hard for us to play. Here you see Spearing on the kickoff. Following this, you'll see a pass to Brian Protiva, in which you'll see the real strength of our receivers. We have some of the strongest receivers in the Bay Area. Just literally drug the CSD backs. Brian's a very big receiver. You'll see John scramble. Again, it seems like he does it very, very well and naturally. Pass to Mike Supple. Fred Halverson always present. Touchdown. One of our biggest boosters, Jerry Jacobs with Don Ferrando. In this kickoff, you'll see number 24, Brian Watchhorse, otherwise known as the Bullet. Forgot to wrap him up, but sure made contact. Here we'll line up Drew at tight end, stop the double coverage, run a delay pass to him. TD. A lot of different things we can do with our offense. Here you'll see a draw play to Mike Supple for good yardage. Full pat one of the few times. Again, a little bit of unnecessary roughness, not called. Swing pass to Mike Supple on a blitz. John read the blitz perfectly. Down to about the 10. We'll motion Bobby. Brian Hull, sophomore running back, will run a draw for a touchdown. Brian forgot his jersey today, and he's wearing David's jersey. Brian is going to be a fine football player. Following the CSD win, we played Valley Christian in our Family Day game. Supposed to be a big game for the league championship. Following the kickoff, you'll see John Pay run a bootleg. Again, he runs it for very, very good yardage. We surprised Valley Christian by running the ball against them very effectively in this game. Here we'll run an H under. We had over 200 yards rushing in this game the first time for the season. Bobby Fitzpatrick. Here we'll run a play we call 23 orbit from a H over. Not much of a gain. On the play, Herbie Ludwig is hurt. Does return to the game. Here you see Ulysses Ludwig and his gang of water boys. Tremendous help to us all season, this crew. Here we'll run a running play that we don't use very often. It's called a crossfire. It's a running play to Drew Ferrando, our flanker, for the TD. We really prepared for this game defensively. Here you'll see two great plays by our defensive ends. Brady Enright on a great tackle, read the screen pass perfectly. Brady's only a sophomore. He is going to be an outstanding football player. Another good defensive play by our entire front three in our line. Sack on the quarterback with all three linemen in on a tackle. Mike Tuxedo makes the initial hit, a junior lineman. Close-up of John Pay, one of the outstanding quarterbacks in the nation. Pitch out to Bobby Fitzpatrick for a sizable gain. We really crossed up Valley Christian by running the ball. Following that, you'll see a draw play, another running play to Mike Supple for a 50-yard touchdown. See the quickness of Michael in this play. Actually, the only time Mike's hit in his plays by the Menlo line, Drew Ferrando. Michael has a great game today. John checks off on this play. You'll see him checking off right here. Comes back on a play we call 28 to Andy Thurstone for a sizable gain. Here we have a great call against a blitz. We have a double screen called and they blitz. John gets rid of it to Mike Supple, and you see several great blocks. Tuxedo, Ferrando, TD. Again, another great hit by Drew Ferrando. Following this, you'll see an interception by Mike Supple. Again, I told you Michael had a great game today. Another running play, H under. Off a fullback motion. Excellent run, almost broke it. Right after this play, John will throw a bomb to Andy Thurstone. Fly pattern for an easy TD. Totally crossed his team up. 49-6 win. Following our relatively easy league wins, we were fortunate to be able to schedule a game with a tough opponent, Terra Nova, the third-ranked team in San Mateo, in a driving rainstorm. Here you'll see John throw a pass to Bob Fitzpatrick. Terra Nova is one of the best defensive teams in San Mateo. As we move down the field, you'll see a pass to David Dove over the middle on the delay. Great catch. Because of sloppy conditions, David fumbles the ball to Terra Nova. We had several very key turnovers in this game. A pass to Drew Ferrando on the sideline. We were pretty much limited to short passes in this game. Actually, this was probably our best defensive game. Here you'll see a great hit by number 22, David Dove, and a host of Menlo tacklers. Another great defensive effort by Drew Ferrando. We actually outgained Terra Nova. We stopped their veer completely. Here you'll see an interception by Mark Gustafson, a sophomore. He just came up to the varsity. Mark is going to be a great football player next year. With after no gains, we'll punt. You'll see a great hit by Matt Halpern, our center downfield. Just does not wrap the ball carry up. But Mike Supple comes in to finish him off, along with Drew Ferrando. Here you see a great read on the option play. Everybody does a correct job. We throw it for a 7-yard loss. Excellent defense. Here will be another great hit by Drew Ferrando, our rover back, for no gain. Turnover attempts to throw. Mike Supple makes a key interception, bringing the ball back upfield. Unfortunately, we're not able to convert this into a touchdown. Late in the game, it's 0-0 still, and we throw the ball over the middle, and you'll see why tight ends don't like to go over the middle. Great hit on David. Pass is actually incomplete. It probably should have been called complete and a fumble. We were fortunate. Very soon, you'll see us come back and make a great hit over the middle on the same type of play by Sloan Rouser, completely flipping the turnover. He even goes to the wrong bench. Here you see David's back in the game, however. After all this, they score 7-0. Next to last play of the game, we throw the ball downfield with about 7 seconds to go to David Dove, who's totally knocked down by 2 defenders. Nothing is called. The last play of the game, after that non-call, we begin to see the real Menlo football team will throw the ball down the field again as time runs out. Actually, there should have been 4 seconds left. Great catch. David battles his way down to the 4-yard line. We almost had another miracle comeback. Following the turnover game, we played Morello in our last home game for 11 seniors, again in a must-win situation to go to the playoffs. On this particular kickoff, you'll see an outstanding hit by Mike Tuxedo, one of our tackles, who really gets downfield on kickoffs. Mike's probably the most improved football player lineman we have. This will be a pass to Bobby Fitzpatrick, a delay pass over the middle, runs it in for a TD, a sign of what's to come today. John's trying to tell me what's going to happen today. Great quarterback, great young man. This will be a pass over the middle again to David Dove. You'll see what the tight ends have to do. Bang. This will be a pass we call 264 to sprint out to Drew Ferrando for a TD. This will be another pass to Drew Ferrando, and you'll see one of the greatest catches you'll ever see. One-handed catch, falling into the end zone, TD. Probably the greatest receiver on the peninsula. Following an interception by Andy Thurstone. John will come right back. Throw another pass to Drew Ferrando for a TD. He almost gets blindsided. Right after this, we'll recover a fumble. Herbie Ludwig recovers. John will come back with a little bit of a scramble. Throw an incredible pass. You see Bobby Fitzpatrick going in motion. We'll watch what happens. Side steps, long pass, great reception by Bobby. We threw 4 consecutive passes for touchdowns following turnovers. Another pass over the middle to David Dove. Another pass to Drew Ferrando for TD. Drew had 4 consecutive catches for 4 consecutive touchdowns. Another long pass to Mike Supple. Actually a short pass. It turns into a long run for another touchdown. You'll see a great hit by Drew Ferrando again. This is Herbie Ludwig's big play of the season. Picks the ball out of midair. The lineman's dream, runs it in for a touchdown. And at the end of this run, you'll see the real enthusiasm of the football team in Menlo. Everybody plays for each other. It's not a one-man or a two-man team. These kids really love each other. This will be the 8th touchdown pass in this game by John, breaking a state record. 8 touchdown passes in one game. A 58-12 win in a must-win situation. Following our league championship game, we were fortunate to be able to play our first 1A playoff game at Stanford Stadium, in a game that probably will go down as one of the greatest football games in Menlo's history. We forced a fumble early in the game by Clear Lake, recovered by David Dove. We immediately come back to a pass over the middle, our favorite pass to David Dove. David's an exceptional receiver. This is followed by a little bit of a scramble by John. Never loses his poise, fires it over the middle. Touchdown to Mike Supple for a 7-0 lead. Drew Ferrando again pounding on his own players. Here you'll see a great run by Mike, and we fumbled down to the 4-yard line on a contact fumble. One of our 5 turnovers. The game might have been a blowout except for the turnovers. A punt return right at the end of the quarter by Brian Protiva gives us pretty good field position. As we change for the quarter, You'll see a great run by Bobby Fitzpatrick on just a very simple dive play. Great block at the line. Great block downfield by Mike Supple. Into the end zone. Here our players finally get smart and get out of Drew's way. 14-0 at halftime. We end up getting behind 15-14. Here we're trying to get the players' heads back up to get back in the game. We'll turn the rest of this drive over to Ian Cummings.
First down and Ferrando are the receivers. He's looking for Ferrando. He's got him at the 18-yard line. That'll be a first down. Menlo's over the ball already. The clock hasn't moved. There's 1:18 remaining. Pay drops back again. He's looking for Ferrando. No, he's looking over the middle. He's got Dove. He hits Dove at the 31. That's a pickup of 14 yards and another first down with 1:11 remaining on the clock. Menlo's moving 25 yards so far, and they've only had 7 seconds run off. Now the clock's running. Pay's looking for Ferrando on the right sideline. He hits him at the 41, and Ferrando steps out of bounds. He picked up 10 yards. 1:04 left on the clock, and it stopped. From the 41, Menlo has inches to go for the first down. Pay drops straight back. He's got time. He throws over the middle. He's got Dove. He hits Dove at the 42, and Menlo's got the first down. 52 seconds remain. Ferrando and Protiva are the receivers. Supple and Fitzpatrick remain in, and he's got Ferrando at the 33, and Ferrando steps out of bounds, a 9-yard pickup. 48 seconds remain on the clock now. It'll be third down and 1 yard to go. From the 32-yard line, Menlo got the first down. Pay's got all day. He throws for the sideline, and he's got Ferrando, and he made the catch at the 25. From the 25 on 2nd and 3, Protiva is split to the right, Ferrando to the left. Supple goes in motion right to left. Fitzpatrick remains in to block. Under pressure, he throws to Dove. Dove's got room on the left side. He's going for the sideline. He's to the 15. He's to the 11, and he fumbles it out of bounds at the 11-yard line. There's 35 seconds remaining, and Menlo has another first down at the 11. From the 11-yard line, it's Thurston in for Protiva. Ferrando is split inside to the right side. There are no receivers on the left. Pay rolls out right. He's looking for the end zone. He's got Thurston. Thurston's got it. Thurston's got the touchdown. Pay to Thurston. 11 yards for the Menlo touchdown with 30 seconds remaining in the game. Menlo goes on top 20-15, and they're all over the field. The flags are flying, but they don't care. All they've got to do is stop Clear Lake for 30 seconds, and Clear Lake has no timeouts left.
football. Catch it.